56% of Americans feel pressured to spend during the holidays. How many open up about their real bank accounts? Less than you'd ever guess. In a world where the average credit card debt is over $6,000 and the median net worth is $193,000, the quiet ones win. Here's why the loudest about money are often the ones with the emptiest accounts. Let's unpack 5 rules that protect real wealth starting now. First, here's how even one conversation can open the floodgates for money requests. Rule number 1 is simple but powerful. Your numbers invite requests. Every time you share a specific financial detail, a raise, a bonus, a successful investment, you are unknowingly painting a target on your back. It might feel good in the moment to share a win, but that good feeling is often followed by a wave of unsolicited advice, business pitches, and, most commonly, requests for money. A 2024 NerdWallet survey conducted by the Harris Poll found that a staggering 3 in 5 Americans plan to make at least one risky financial move due to social influence. Think about that. The people you share your success with are already primed by social pressure to take financial risks. When they see you have a surplus, you become their perceived safety net. Your success isn't just your own anymore. It becomes an opportunity in their eyes. The friendship loan that never gets paid back. The can't-miss business venture from a cousin. These requests don't materialize out of thin air. They are triggered by the information you provide. The workplace is a primary battleground for this. According to a 2024 survey from Inside Global, 56% of employees feel pressured to buy gifts at work. This pressure isn't just about the holidays. It's about a constant low-level financial scrutiny. When a coworker knows you just got a 10% raise, the pressure to contribute more to the team gift, the baby shower fund, or the after-work drinks suddenly intensifies. They might not say it outright, but the expectation is there. You're now the successful one who can afford to carry a little more of the social burden. Each piece of information you overshare creates a data point for your peers. They build a profile of your financial health, and that profile dictates what they feel comfortable asking of you. The key takeaway here is that financial privacy isn't about being secretive or antisocial. It's a defensive strategy. It reduces the number of financial leaks that can sink your long-term goals. The less people know about the specifics of your income, the fewer direct asks and unspoken expectations you'll have to navigate. After any raise, bonus, or windfall, your default setting should be privacy. If you are directly asked, having deflection strategies ready is far more effective than giving a concrete number that will be remembered and used against you later. Let's look at Alex's real new IC numbers. Can you spot where the leaks happen? Alex is a 34-year-old IT project manager in New York City, earning a solid salary of $120,000 a year. His goal is ambitious but achievable. Reach a $500,000 net worth by age 40. But living in NYC is a constant battle against expenses. His rent is $3,500 a month. Groceries are $500, and he sends about $150 home to his family each month. On top of that, holiday and birthday gifts add up to over $600 a year, often more. For a while, Alex was proud of his career progress. When he received his annual performance bonus, a nice lump sum, he'd mention it to a few close work friends. He thought it was just sharing good news. But the consequences were immediate. One coworker pitched him a high-risk startup idea, asking for a small seed investment. An old friend from college, hearing through the grapevine, called to ask for a loan to cover some bills, promising to pay it back soon. Around the holidays, the pressure to spearhead the expensive teen gift for their boss fell squarely on his shoulders. He was spending hundreds of dollars just to manage social expectations, all triggered by his own disclosure. The stress was immense. He realized his transparency was costing him not just money, but his peace of mind. So, Alex implemented a new strategy based on rule number 1. He made 3 simple changes. First, he completely stopped announcing bonuses or raises, both in person and online. When his friends celebrated their wins, he congratulated them enthusiastically, but kept his own news to himself. Second, when asked direct questions about money, he developed vague but friendly deflections. If someone asked how his bonus was, he'd smile and say, "The company was generous this year. I'm grateful," and immediately pivot the conversation. How about you? Any exciting plans for the holidays? It's polite, positive, and reveals nothing. Third, he learned to politely decline gift-pooling proposals that were outside his budget. Instead of feeling pressured, he'd say, "I'm handling my gift for Sarah separately this year, but thank you for organizing." The outcome was dramatic. Within 6 months, the direct money asks dropped to nearly zero. He avoided lending money he knew he'd never see again and sidestepped a risky investment pitch. Most importantly, his savings rate increased, putting him back on track toward his $500,000 goal. The lesson here is that you control the flow of information. By turning off the tap, Alex protected his assets and, just as importantly, his mental energy. Second, how silence works as your shield from envy and awkwardness. This brings us to rule number 2. Privacy shields against envy. There's a reason why talking about money is still a major taboo in our culture. A 2024 NerdWallet/Harris poll confirmed what many of us feel instinctively. Most Americans keep their income and wealth a secret, even from close friends and family. This isn't just a historical quirk. It's a powerful social survival mechanism. When you openly share your financial upgrades, posting pictures of a lavish vacation, announcing you've finally paid off your student loans, or showing off a new car, you're not just sharing your joy. You are broadcasting a financial status that can inadvertently create a divide between you and the people you care about. This is especially true in today's economic climate. A 2025 Harvard Youth poll revealed that 43% of young adults between 18 and 29 described their financial situation as struggling or just getting by. For the nearly half of your peers who are feeling financially stressed, your big win doesn't always feel like a shared celebration. It can feel like a painful reminder of their own struggles, breeding feelings of envy, resentment, or inadequacy. This envy isn't just an abstract feeling. It has real-world consequences. It can lead to social exclusion, where friends might stop inviting you to things because they assume you're now too good for your old hangouts, or conversely, that you'll judge their more modest choices. Or it can swing the other way, where you're suddenly expected to pick up the check, cover a larger share of the group trip, or lend money more freely because, in their minds, you can afford it. Your financial progress becomes a justification for them to place a heavier burden on you. You become the unofficial bank or sponsor for your social circle, a role you never auditioned for. The solution is not to stop achieving or enjoying the fruits of your labor. The solution is to deflect attention from the financial aspect of your achievements. Instead of talking about how much the trip cost, talk about a funny experience you had. Instead of announcing the exact amount of debt you cleared, talk about the feeling of relief and freedom. The actionable advice is to shift the focus from the numbers to the shared, relatable, human experiences. This allows people to celebrate with you, not envy you. By keeping the financial details private, you protect your relationships from the corrosive effects of comparison and keep your social dynamics on an even keel. Ever wonder why group trips feel tense over money? In 2 minutes, you'll see Nina's solution in action. Nina is a 29-year-old staff nurse earning $82,000 a year. She's financially responsible, with her major expenses being $2,000 for rent, a $350 student loan payment, and about $150 for transportation. Her goal is financial independence by 45, and she's making steady progress. In the past, whenever she hit a milestone like paying off a check of her student loans or saving enough for a trip to Southeast Asia, she would excitedly post about it on social media. She thought she was sharing her journey and maybe inspiring others, but the reaction was often the opposite of what she expected. Her family members would start making passive-aggressive comments in group chats like, "Must be nice to be a nurse," followed by questions about her exact salary. Friends would plan get-togethers and automatically assume she could cover a bigger share. "Nina's got it" became a common refrain. The social friction was exhausting. Her wins started to feel like liabilities, creating tension and expectations that soured her achievements. Recognizing the pattern, Nina adopted rule number 2. She stopped posting about specific financial wins. Her vacation photos were now about the culture and the experiences, not the price tag. When she paid off another loan, she celebrated privately with her partner instead of making a public announcement. In family gatherings and group chats, when conversations drifted toward salaries or bonuses, she would skillfully redirect. If a cousin asked how much she was saving, she'd reply, "It's a long road, but I'm just glad to be making progress. By the way, did you see that new movie everyone's talking about?" She also began proactively suggesting budget-friendly group activities, which subtly communicated that she was still mindful of expenses, just like everyone else. The change was profound. The probing questions about her salary stopped. Her friends started planning more inclusive, affordable outings, and the dynamic felt less tense and more genuine. She was still the same successful nurse on the same path to financial independence, but by controlling the narrative, she shielded her relationships from the destructive power of envy. Her wealth was growing, and so was the health of her social life. Third, let's talk about the growing risk of scams and how silence is your best defense. We've covered requests and envy, but rule number 3 guards against a more direct threat. Your silence protects you from scams and manipulation. In our hyper-connected world, oversharing financial information is like leaving your front door unlocked. Every detail you post or casually mention educates potential scammers. They are listening, and they are sophisticated. When you talk about the great 5% APY you're getting at Ally Bank, you're telling them you have a high-yield savings account. When you complain about your 401k performance, you're telling them you have a retirement account. When you celebrate a big stock market win, you're telling them you're an active investor. This information helps them build a detailed profile of you, which they then use to craft highly targeted and believable phishing attacks, identity theft schemes, and other forms of fraud. The more they know about your specific financial situation, the easier it is for them to impersonate your bank, trick you into a fake investment, or manipulate you into giving up sensitive information. This isn't a theoretical risk. The financial landscape is filled with people who are vulnerable. According to data from TransUnion and Trading Economics for 2025, the average American carries around $6,000 in credit card debt. This indicates a population under financial stress, making them prime targets for get-rich-quick schemes or fraudulent debt relief offers. Scammers prey on both desperation and success. If you seem desperate, they offer a fake solution. If you seem successful, they try to steal a piece of it. Even the most common and responsible financial tools can become vulnerabilities if you talk about them too much. As of December 2024, Bankrate reports that top high-yield savings accounts from banks like Ally, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, and Synchrony are offering excellent rates between 4% and 5% APY. These are fantastic tools for growing your money. But they are also brand names that scammers love to impersonate in phishing emails. Your casual mention of moving money to Marcus gives them the exact script they need to trick you. The fundamental action step for this rule is to make it a non-negotiable habit. Never discuss or post specific account balances, investment wins, or financial windfalls. This applies to social media, group chats, and even casual conversations in social settings. Silence is your firewall. Here's Jordan's experience. Notice the immediate consequences of a single social post. Jordan is a 41-year-old freelance creative making about $96,000 a year. With a variable income, financial security is a top priority. Jordan is disciplined, making regular deposits into a high-yield savings account and an IRA with the goal of building a one-year emergency fund. A few months ago, a small crypto investment Jordan had made years prior suddenly skyrocketed in value. Elated, Jordan took a screenshot of the account balance and posted it on social media with a celebratory caption. It felt like a harmless moment of excitement. The fallout was almost instantaneous. Within 24 hours, Jordan's DMs were flooded with spam from crypto gurus and bot accounts. Then came the phishing emails, cleverly designed to look like they were from the crypto exchange, asking to verify account details for security. The most chilling part was a highly personalized phishing attempt from someone who appeared to be an acquaintance from a shared online group. They knew just enough about Jordan from past posts to make their scam seem plausible. It was a terrifying wake-up call. Jordan had essentially sent out a broadcast to every scammer within digital earshot, announcing, "I have money, and here's where I keep it." Shaken by the experience, Jordan immediately put rule number 3 into practice. First, the celebratory post was deleted, and a new, strict policy was enacted. 0 public announcements about any investment wins, ever. Second, Jordan went through every financial account and enabled the highest level of security available. 2-factor authentication, unique, complex passwords, and privacy settings locked down. Third, Jordan had an open conversation with a few close friends, educating them on the risks of financial oversharing and asking them to keep any financial discussions private. The results were clear and immediate. The targeted phishing attempts stopped. Jordan's financial accounts remained secure, and that all-important emergency fund continued to grow, untouched by scammers or the stress of fending them off. The lesson from Jordan's scare is critical. The temporary validation you get from boasting about a financial win is nothing compared to the permanent security you get from keeping it quiet. Protecting your wealth isn't just about making good investments. It's about building strong defenses. Have you or someone you know faced a scam after talking about money? Let me know with a simple yes or no in the comments below. Reading your experiences helps us all stay vigilant. Fourth, let's look at why quiet accumulation beats the flashy flex every time. This leads us to rule number 4. Real wealth grows quietly. True sustainable wealth isn't built on lottery wins, viral TikToks, or flashy displays of consumption. It's built brick by brick, day by day, in the quiet background of a disciplined life. According to the Federal Reserve's 2022 survey of consumer finances, the median net worth in the United States is $193,000. This number isn't typically reached by people who are constantly upgrading their lifestyle and broadcasting every purchase. It's achieved by those who master the art of living below their means and let their money work for them, undisturbed by external pressures and the need for validation. They understand that every dollar spent on impressing others is a dollar that isn't compounding in their investment accounts. The engine of this quiet growth is often remarkably simple and, frankly, a little boring, which is why it works so well. Investors who consistently and quietly contribute to low-cost index funds like the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index, VTSAX, or the Schwab Total Stock Market Index, SWTSX, have historically seen average annual returns of 8 to 10% over the long term, according to Morningstar data from December 2024. There's no drama here, no frantic day trading, just the slow, steady, silent power of compound interest working its magic far from the spotlight. This quiet approach is especially critical for those living in high cost of living areas where financial pressure is constant. Let's take New York City as an example. Based on data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Zillow from December 2024, the monthly cost of living for a single professional is between $5,500 and $6,500. When your baseline expenses are that high, there is very little room for error or lifestyle inflation. Every financial decision matters. The temptation to keep up with the expensive brunches, designer clothes, and weekend getaways is enormous. But the person who quietly packs their lunch, takes the subway, and automatically invests their surplus is the one who is actually getting ahead. The action step for this rule is to embrace the power of automation and privacy. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings and investment accounts. Let your wealth build in the background on autopilot. Celebrate your progress privately by looking at your statements, not by posting on Instagram. Your goal is to let your numbers compound, undisturbed by the noise of social pressure and the temptation of lifestyle creep. True financial freedom is a quiet fortress, not a loud party. Let's crunch Sam's true New York City budget versus his wealth-building automation. Sam is a 38-year-old mid-level marketing manager in NYC, earning $115,000 a year. He's doing well. But after his $3,200 rent and other city expenses, the pressure is on. He has $110,000 in his 401k, contributes 8% of his salary, and has built up a $22,000 emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. His goal is to cross the median net worth line of $193,000 before he turns 40. The biggest obstacle Sam faces is internal. Every time he gets a bonus or a raise, his first instinct is to upgrade his lifestyle. A nicer apartment, a more expensive watch, a fancier vacation. He sees his friends and colleagues doing it, and the temptation to signal his success is strong. But he knows that every dollar spent on an upgrade is a dollar stolen from his future compounded self. It would eat directly into the investment returns he needs to hit his goal. So Sam committed to rule number 4. He made his wealth-building process as quiet and automated as possible. First, he set up an automatic monthly transfer from his paycheck directly into his Roth IRA, which is invested in a total market index fund, VTSAX. He doesn't have to think about it. The money is invested before he even has a chance to spend it. Second, he made a pact with himself to not announce new investments or financial upgrades on social media. His financial journey became his private business. Third, before making any significant new purchase, he evaluates it against its impact on his long-term compounding. He asks himself, is this watch worth delaying my goal by 6 months? More often than not, the answer is no. By making his process invisible and automatic, he removed the daily temptation and the social pressure. The outcome? Sam celebrated his 39th birthday by quietly crossing the $200,000 net worth threshold, surpassing his goal ahead of schedule. He maintained a modest but comfortable lifestyle, avoided the envy and social backlash his peers sometimes faced, and built a foundation of wealth that was solid, secure, and silent. Last, here's the thread tying all real wealth builders together: default privacy. This brings us to our final rule, rule number 5, which is really the synthesis of all the others. Make privacy your default setting. The quiet strategies we've discussed aren't just for a select few. They reflect the behavior of the majority. When you look at the data from major 2024 surveys by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Harris Poll, and Insight Global, a clear pattern emerges. Most Americans, despite the noise on social media, default to financial privacy in their daily lives. They aren't discussing their salaries at the dinner table or posting their net worth on Facebook. The loud minority creates the illusion that everyone is oversharing, but the silent majority is quietly building. Adopting this default privacy as a conscious strategy is the ultimate form of financial defense. It's not about hiding or being ashamed. It's about creating a controlled environment where your financial plan can thrive. By making privacy your baseline, you automatically shield yourself from the 4 biggest threats to wealth accumulation: unnecessary peer pressure, corrosive envy, targeted scams, and self-inflicted lifestyle creep. When no one knows the specifics of your finances, they can't pressure you to spend. They can't envy what they don't see. Scammers have less information to target you with, and you yourself are less tempted to spend for external validation. How would your approach change if you knew no one could judge your money moves? Think about that for our final recap. The simple, repeatable action is this. When asked a direct question about your finances, use a polite non-answer and then immediately pivot the conversation to a shared interest or a question about them. This simple technique allows you to maintain social grace while protecting your boundaries. You don't owe anyone an explanation of your financial life. Every rule we've discussed today, guarding your numbers from requests, shielding your relationships from envy, protecting your accounts from scammers, and letting your wealth compound in peace, all lead back to this one central theme. Wealth grows best where silence is the standard. It's the disciplined, understated individuals who understand this that ultimately reach their financial goals. They choose long-term security over short-term applause. Consider Casey, a 32-year-old school administrator earning $78,000 a year. Casey is meticulous with finances, paying $1,900 in rent and focusing on saving $600 a month to build a $30,000 cash cushion, while also contributing to a Roth IRA. The biggest challenge isn't the numbers. It's the workplace culture. Colleagues are constantly talking about their salaries, their side hustles, and their latest purchases. There's an unspoken pressure for Casey to join in, to overshare in order to feel validated and part of the group. Casey decided to make default privacy a conscious practice. First, Casey prepped 2 or 3 polite phrases to deflect financial questions, like, "I'm focused on my long-term goals right now, but I'd love to hear more about that project you're working on." It's a gentle but firm boundary. Second, Casey made a point to gently reinforce these boundaries in every conversation, consistently steering talk away from personal numbers. Third, to satisfy the need for financial discussion and community, Casey joined a few private online finance forums where people could talk about strategies anonymously. The outcome was a significant reduction in daily stress. By creating a privacy shield, Casey protected the cash goals from social pressure, managed to increase the monthly savings rate, and eliminated the anxiety that comes from constant financial comparison with peers. It's a powerful example of how setting quiet boundaries can lead to loud results in your bank account.